and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Budapest, capital city of Hungary, here in Central Europe near the Danube River. I hope everybody has had a great week thus far. Hi Preeti, hi Rahul, hi Kisi, good to see so many members joining the class on time. Today we are finishing our task 2 writing for band 9 that we started on yesterday. Hi Hung, hi Roshni. Again, materials come from our premium websites, aehelp.com. That's academicenglishhelp.com to help you pass the academic IELTS, and gieltshelp.com for the general version. Of course, the reading and writing sections on those two websites are different. They teach you with different materials and different skills according to those exams. The websites look like this. This is the academic here with the blue background, the aehelp.com. Click that big red button to join the premium course, or you can try it free, the demo version with the green button. And the same idea for the general, green background. Click that big red button to join us there. This is a members chat class, as you will see from the names of our members. They are in green font. If you'd like to become a member, just click the join button beside the subscribe button. If you don't see it, send me an email. You can also send me an email if you have questions about our products or the exam. My name, Adrian, Adrian, at aehelp.com. Hi, Amarjeet. Hi, Roshni. Good to see some more members coming into the class. All right, everybody. So again, we're finishing a task 2 essay today, body paragraphs and conclusion. And then we will do a speaking part 2 class in 90 minutes where everybody can join in and share their thoughts in the chat. Hi, Alvina. Smiley emoji back at you. All right, students. So this was the question for yesterday's class. Just a refresher, we'll look at this, and then we'll review the introduction. So IELTS Task 2 Writing. Some people say that it is wasteful to spend time in class on teaching good handwriting because it is unnecessary in today's world. How far do you agree and disagree? Meaning, to what extent do you agree or disagree? We paraphrased the question, we did some critical thinking, we identified the topic as good handwriting, we decided why it's important. We said it benefits both the reader and the writer to have good handwriting skills, and why it's not important because we live in a digital age with computers where typing has become much more popular. Then we ended up with this thesis statement here. Although it is true that people live in the digital age where typing on a computer is more common than writing by hand, I do believe that teaching good penmanship in school has great value for both the author and the audience. Okay, so that's our thesis. And then many of our members gave some suggestions for a hook. We also discussed the background, and then we plugged in the thesis and ended up with a quality introductory paragraph. So this is our introduction here. Handwriting is an integral part of human civilization. The ability to correctly form letters and compose sentences so that writing by hand is legible is traditionally a skill taught to people in primary school curriculum. Nevertheless, time spent in class to develop penmanship has come under question in the modern age of computers. Although it is true that people live in the digital age where typing on a computer is more common than writing by hand, I do believe that teaching good penmanship in school has great value for both the author and audience. Okay. Now, we are on to our body paragraphs. So how should we compose this? Members, based on our thesis statement, hi Firdausi, how should we structure our body paragraphs? What should we do? So what should we discuss in body paragraph 1? What is a good idea to do there? What should our topic sentence focus on? Of course, we always start body paragraphs with a topic sentence that introduces the idea of the body paragraph. Roshni says we should talk about its value for the author. Absolutely. Not necessarily the advantages, Alvina, but specifically the value for the author. Okay, that's truly my point number 1, because I mostly believe, or I mostly agree, that teaching good handwriting has value. Okay, so definitely the topic sentence here should focus on the value of good handwriting for the author. Okay, and of course we discussed what those were, or what those are, yesterday, and I think Rahul is already suggesting a topic sentence for us. No, we can demonstrate 2 main benefits of good handwriting and then explain them in the body paragraphs. Well, we already have the benefits, right? So the benefit for the author and the benefit for the audience. So here we want to emphasize the benefit for the author. We can briefly touch on the use of computers, but here we want to emphasize the benefit to the author. So what is the benefit to the author? Okay, that's what we will explain and then give examples for. So now, let's compose that topic sentence. Okay, give me some good topic sentences for this. So all you're doing is going into more detail about this point here. So giving a deeper definition of good handwriting benefits the author, hence learning handwriting in school is valuable. Okay. Kisi, you can kind of apply that counter argument strategy that I showed you last week. Okay. So I'll show you what I mean, Kisi, and then I'll also wait for your topic sentences. So although typing on a keyboard has its advantages, such as speed, there is clear benefits to learning quality penmanship in school. Okay, so that could be a good topic sentence, Kisi. That hopefully explains what I mean by you can touch on typing on computer and why this question is being asked, and then quickly switch to detailing this point here. Okay, and to be more specific, notice how I'm missing this point, the author here, so I want to include that. Okay, so let me make it even better. Although typing on a keyboard has its advantages, such as speed, there is clear benefits to learning quality penmanship for scholars in school. Okay, scholars would be another way to state writers or authors here. Okay. You could, Alvina, but although works, you don't have to get too fancy. Remember, don't get lost in details, Alvina, so always keep the bigger picture in mind. You could use even though, or you could say on one hand, perhaps, Alvina, to take away some of the negative connotation of although? Okay, I'm going to keep although. I'm not going to overcomplicate here. But yeah, you're right, Alvina. It's possible. You can play around with that at home a little bit. Hi, Mariko. Welcome to class. All right. So, let's explain that after. Still waiting on some topic sentences, though. I don't want to rush. I want to give our members here a chance to give topic sentences so I can review them. Meanwhile, I'll scroll back to our planning so you can see what those were. Okay. So this is what we discussed yesterday. Why is good handwriting important? To communicate clearly and accurately in literature. That's maybe better for a second paragraph. It gives interest and quality. That's probably more about the reader. It leaves a good impression about the author and their attitude. That's probably more for the reader. It develops unique patterns of thinking in the brain for the author. So that one's clearly for the author. It helps enhance the confidence of the author. So that's probably more about the author as well. Okay, so we have good points there to think about for the explanation. And you'll notice here a really interesting kind of point, viewers and members, that when you have the right idea for how to structure information in an essay, you can break it into sentences and paragraphs over the course of 2-3 days, and there will still be cohesion and coherence once it's completed. Okay? That's how you know that you've mastered correct essay structure. And you don't have to write the whole essay in one sit. Of course, on the IELTS you do, but when you're practicing at home, you can even break it into different times. So you can write an introduction in the morning, write the body paragraphs in the evening, write the conclusion the next day, read it, and if you have the right idea for structure, then it will still make sense. Roshni says, good handwriting is a basic tool in many subjects for writers' intellectual growth and enhances confidence. Roshni, very good. Okay, that works. That's really nice. So you're already going into that detail, and then you're going to explain what you mean by that. Very good, Roshni. Basic tool, not basis tool, but basic tool, Roshni, but good. Hung says, people are used to typing words on computers for the last 2 decades. However, handwriting is a prominent benefit for the author. Hung, that's good. I would use present tense, not present perfect. Okay, so is a prominent benefit. Kisi says, typing hundreds of words in a minute is faster than handwriting, but it could not convey as much about the author. Okay, Kisi, you're going a little bit of a different direction, but that's okay. You can still definitely make a good body paragraph with that. Rahul says, in the current era, we do see many typing devices which have replaced handwriting needs. However, legible handwriting still has relevance in many places. Rahul, good. Your ideas are good. Your words are good. Again, Rahul, just pay careful attention to your grammar and your order of words. Okay, Rahul, I think for you, some grammar software could be really useful to help you identify mistakes and reorganize your sentences a little bit. If you could organize your sentences, Rahul, a little bit better, I guarantee you will go up by a band score. Okay. Preeti says, however, there are some benefits of work on the computer, but good handwriting is the key to develop an attitude in school. Okay, Preeti, close. Careful with that double negative. Preeti, never mix however and but in the same sentence like that. It's very confusing. So just start with, there are some benefits of working on a computer, but good handwriting still has key advantages to develop a positive attitude in school. I would say positive attitude in life. Okay. Alvina says, even though computers automate writing, automate. Alvina, I would say automate. So even though computers automate the way of writing, good penmanship gives many benefits, such as broadening people's minds. Good. Dev, nice to see a new member in the class. Fantastic. Good for you. And make sure to send me an email to get your perks. Dev says, since the development of computers, writing has been made easy, but the advantages of good handwriting have been a part of what we are today and still an important part of the modern world. Okay, Dev, good. Dev, be really careful not to shift into the future. So will still be. I would avoid that will, okay? Keep it present tense. In academic writing, professional writing, we want to stick to present tense as much as possible so that our arguments hold true, just generally speaking, past, present, and future, okay? Otherwise, that's quite good, Dev. Okay, it's quite good. Careful with wordiness and also avoid the word we. It's, in most cases, not necessary, all right? Okay, good. So now we need to explain what we mean by this, and some of you have already gone a step further here. The method of writing. So do your own explanation, and I will do the same, and then we'll compare. I'll be a little bit quiet here and there so I don't influence you too much. Okay, so there is my explanation. Go ahead, members, explain it. And again, there are a million different ways to explain an idea. This is where you want to use some rich vocabulary to increase your band scores. And you want to maybe use some quantitative language if you can, okay? Definitely use some visible language as well, okay? Whenever possible. Sensory language, so sight, smell, taste, hearing, and so on, okay? In this case, it's a little bit trickier, but whenever you can, definitely consider that when you're writing your explanations, okay? All right, while you're completing your explanation, this is mine here. The method of writing by hand is clearly different than keyboarding. It is a continuous, elegant movement of the hand that arguably evokes a greater depth and creativity in thought. This should not be undermined in school curriculum. In addition, quality penmanship teaches precise hand-eye coordination, which can transfer to other skills such as painting. Okay? All right, Amarjeet says, even though due to technology, the way of writing has changed and become more comfortable, it is not as effective as penmanship for authors to express their opinion, period. You don't need the in these days, Amarjeet, because it's generally true. Also, Amarjeet, I made a couple of corrections there, so take note of those grammar corrections, okay? So even though, capital E, due to technology, the way of writing has changed and become more comfortable, not more comforted. Comforted means that somebody is making us comfortable. It's different, okay? Comma, it's good. It is not as effective as penmanship, not as like. Okay, Amarjeet, careful with as like. They should not be beside each other like that. All right. So notice those corrections, Amarjeet. And again, members, when I'm correcting your writing, make sure to quickly write down the timestamp in the video. So Amarjeet, your correction was at about 20 minutes, 15 seconds. So you can come back later to the video and compare what you wrote. If I'm not mistaken, YouTube now actually catalogs the chat as well. So you can even go back and see your writing and compare to what I say. When you hear my correction, Amarjeet, take a pen or a pencil and write it out by hand, okay? It's actually a good application of using our handwriting to learn more effectively. All right, Rahul Kamodia says, the thought process of an author who writes on a computer is slightly different than what he narrates on paper. Writing by hand gives more structured way of expressing thoughts. Very good, Rahul, and that's arguable. Now, Rahul, whether that's true or not, it's up to you, okay? I actually agree with you, and I think it's a good explanation, okay? Again, Rahul, what I said before, don't jump to will be, okay? You'll notice, members, that in most situations, you can avoid using will. If your tenses move around, if you're jumping around from present to future to past, it will decrease your band score. It's considered a lower quality of writing, especially in academic writing. Okay, so you want to avoid jumping to the future, Rahul. So Rahul, one more time. The thought process of an author who writes on a computer is slightly different than what he narrates on paper. You don't need the word something, Rahul. It has zero value there. Okay. Writing by hand gives a more structured way of expressing thoughts. And that's very good, Rahul. That's a very nice additive sentence there to give more clarity to your explanation. So good job. Preeti says, good handwriting needs continuous practice and attention, which leads the author towards creativity and positive attitude. Very good, Preeti. That's a very nice, mistake-free sentence. That's the kind of explanation, and that's the kind of sentence that will earn you the band scores. Absolutely. Okay. All right. Kisi says, the style of penmanship represents a person's identity and attitude. Some students write neat and beautiful essays by hand who are more likely to get higher scores. Yeah, I see where you're going with it, Kisi, even for the IELTS paper-based exam, right? This is, by the way, one of the differences in doing the IELTS paper-based or computer-based. You will be thinking differently in the writing section. So the brain works differently writing by hand than typing by computer. You have to identify when you're practicing at home which one works better for you, and that can also decide whether you choose the computer-based IELTS exam or the paper-based, okay? If you have nice penmanship and you have good thought flow, you might prefer the paper-based exam compared to the computer-based exam. So this question is actually quite pertinent to the IELTS exam as well. Okay. All right. Hung says the benefit of writing by hand is crucial which allows young individuals not only to focus on structures of sentences, but also hand-eye control. Okay, Hung. Yeah, and control in hand-eye translates to control in thoughts. Sure. Hung continues, moreover, it is a traditional way to write by hand in any place without a computer, like on a plane or a boat where the computer may not be available. Yeah, sure. Okay. Reba says handwriting. I think, Hung, you're going a little bit off with that second explanation. In the real exam, Hung, you might want to think, okay, do I really need this explanation? It's a little bit of a stretch, and then avoid it. Instead, write a good example and then move on to your next body paragraph. Reba says, handwriting skills improves the author to write in a clear and precise manner. As well, it also helps in academic and professional settings. Reba, academic and professional settings. Okay. Alvina says, the possibility to write by hand properly makes a person confident and enhances thinking and visualization. It is best exercise for hands and eyes as people can touch the pencil and see the results. Touch the pencil to paper and see the results. Alvina, take out someone's thinking. It's unnecessary. Okay, someone, something, thing. These are unnecessary. Also, Alvina, really be careful to not jump to the second person voice. It is the best exercise for hands and eyes as you can touch the pencil to the paper. What if I'm one of those unfortunate souls who doesn't have hands and I'm reading what you just wrote and now you're directly addressing me? It's very awkward. So Alvina, because you don't know your reader specifically in many cases, the second person voice, you and yours, is generally avoided in university and college writing. Okay, most university and college writing is third person voice. You don't see the words you and yours. Okay. All right, Roshni says, with each iteration of this process, a person develops good habits and enhances personality and creativity, which are essential in later life. Illegible writing can have negative consequences on the mental ability of children. Okay. All right, good. So again, this is mine here. The method of writing by hand is clearly different than keyboarding. Even though that's obvious for most people, stating that to your IELTS examiner is very important so that they know you have clarity on this information. It is a continuous, elegant movement of the hand that arguably evokes, or another way to say it is elicits, a greater depth and creativity in thought. This should not be undermined in school curriculum. Notice a kind of a difference between my explanation and yours is I do pay attention to include school curriculum because the question is asking, should it be a part of school curriculum or taught in class? So I don't want to forget about that important point in my explanations, okay? That's why I'm always encouraging you to read and reread the task 2 question so that you're reminded of the details of the question, the elements of the question, so you can include it in your body paragraphs as well. In addition, quality penmanship teaches precise hand-eye coordination, which can transfer to other skills such as painting. Okay, now comes the example. All right, so now give a very good example to back up your ideas. Okay? Arguably, one of the greatest novels written by Stephen King is called Dreamcatcher, which he wrote entirely by a fountain pen. Okay? He himself claims that writing this novel by hand is largely the reason for its quality. Okay, and that's actually true. If you have some interesting information from your own experience or knowledge, include it. I don't know if you're familiar with the author Stephen King, but he's quite possibly the most famous horror thriller type novel writer. Many of his books have been made into films, including this one. And of course, most of his books he wrote by a typewriter or a computer. But one that he actually wrote with a fountain pen. Fountain pen is one of those pens that traditionally we dipped into ink. These days you have an ink cartridge in there. And he wrote The Dreamcatcher. I think he wrote originally more than 800 pages by hand. There were other factors in the background for his inspiration, but he says that because he wrote it by hand, it really influenced his thought process and his ideas, and that's why he was able to write a novel that was possibly one of his best works. Okay, so arguably one of the greatest thriller novels written by Stephen King is called Dreamcatcher, which he wrote entirely by fountain pen. He himself claims that writing this novel by hand is largely the reason for its quality. Okay, and of course, members, students, I'm always pushing to teach you kind of different expressions of English. So here you can see this, he himself claims that writing. We don't need the comma here because we have that. In most cases, you have either that or a comma, but not both, okay? So that replaces the comma, all right? And you can make up examples like this. If you're quick on your feet and you're thinking quickly, you can just make up an example like that, okay? All right. Let's see what Rahul Kamodia has given us for an example. Rahul says, for instance, many famous writers and poets, even today, handwrite their books. The imagination portrayed by handwriting on paper has simply no comparison. Rahul, very good. So you generalized a little bit more than I did. I named a specific author, but that's good. Okay, Rahul, that's good. Remember, Rahul, the more specific, the better. You could write that and then follow it with the example of a famous author. Okay. Reba says, for example, if a student reads and writes a particular topic, he always remembers in his mind that just memorizing that topic. Reba, I'm not sure where you're going with that example. Rethink it, rewrite it, enhance the clarity of that. Okay. Alvina says, in addition, I consider that students learn information easier if they write all conspectus by hand and repeat their notes. Okay, Alvina, so you're giving more information. You're adding information. That's not an example. Okay, make sure that your example always flows. So don't just start explaining and then jump to another thought and start explaining that. That can lead to confusion. Okay, and remember, Alvina, 280 to 350 words for that band 7 to 9 category on the task 2, right? So don't spread your ideas too broad. Instead, focus your ideas and go into details. You'll do better, Alvina. I promise you, especially with your English, okay? Kisi says, for example, most teachers Um, feel a headache. I think you see you're translating that a little bit from Chinese. Careful with that. From Mandarin. So, for example, most teachers are frustrated when they checked paper-based tests which have bad handwriting. They strongly suggest pupils should spend more time practicing penmanship. And you're right, Kesey, even on the IELTS exam, if you have good ideas and good sentences, but it's illegible, it's difficult to read for examiners, they will drop the score. Okay, so you can lose marks for writing poorly on the IELTS exam. If they can't make out your words, if they have difficulty understanding what you're writing because it looks like chicken scratch, you will lose band marks. Okay. Roshni says, for example, my child Kate in elementary school started improving her penmanship, immediately developed speed in reading and accuracy in grammar. And now she is a famous author and has written 2 popular books. Okay, Roshni, careful. Maybe divide that into 2 sentences and notice my corrections. I corrected a fair bit there to be accurate. All right, so pay attention for that. Okay, so now a connecting, concluding sentence. Okay, so okay, therefore, teaching handwriting or good handwriting in schools in order to develop higher mental abilities is one reason that I support this practice in the future. Okay. All right, so that's my body paragraph 1. Now, always reread your body paragraph once you're finished. Make sure that it's clear, you don't have a lot of word repetition, you don't have big grammar mistakes, okay? Especially if you're doing it piece by piece like I just did. So, although typing on a keyboard has its advantages, such as speed, there's clear benefits. There are clear benefits. See, so right away, there's a plural singular. There are clear benefits to learning quality penmanship for scholars in school. The method of writing by hand is clearly different than keyboarding. It is continuous. It is a continuous, elegant movement of the hand that arguably evokes a greater depth and creativity and thought. This should not be undermined in school curriculum. In addition, quality penmanship teaches precise hand-eye coordination, which can transfer to other skills such as painting. Arguably, one of the greatest thriller novels written by Stephen King is called Dreamcatcher, which he wrote entirely by a fountain pen. He himself claims that writing this novel by hand is largely the reason for its quality. Therefore, teaching good handwriting in schools in order to develop higher mental abilities is one reason that I support this practice in the future. Okay? All right, fantastic. Now we go on to body paragraph 2. In body paragraph 2, we're continuing with the support for penmanship because it has value for the audience. Okay, the audience. So let's do a topic sentence for body paragraph 2. Okay, here we go. All right, if I missed a couple members' comments, don't worry about it. You can always send it to me by email as well, and I will try to catch you on the next one, okay? All right, so body paragraph 2, topic sentence, value for the audience or the reader. This, Kesey, is I think where a lot of your ideas come to fruition. So this is where it's really emphasizing the impression that you leave with your reader when they can see quality in your penmanship. Okay, so let's put that into words. So information conveyed through type font is homogeneous, but handwritten knowledge expresses the unique personality and attitude of the writer, which increases the value of the message. Okay. All right. So again, students, here I'm pushing you with new words, new vocabulary, always. And you will get there. Okay. The more you practice, the more you will achieve this level of composition. And it will be for your better, not just in school, but also in work and life. So information conveyed through type font. Type font is what we call, of course, these characters typed on a computer, is homogeneous. Homogeneous means that it's uniform. There's no difference. Okay? If I type, you type, and Sarah over on the other side of the street types something, they all look the same. There's no difference in the actual appearance of the information. Not the message itself, but the appearance. So there's no uniqueness. But handwritten knowledge expresses the unique personality and attitude of the writer, which increases the value of the message. Okay? When a person, and then here comes the explanation. Okay, so that was my topic sentence, and now comes the explanation. Okay, so when a person reads a beautifully handwritten note, they correctly assume that the author is a well-educated individual who is organized and pays attention to detail. Okay. Now, if I don't want to write pays attention to detail, I want to say that in one word. How can I do that? This is kind of a little bonus question here. So, is a well-educated individual who is organized and pays attention to detail. Pays attention to detail. I can say that in one word, and then I'll have better parallel grammar, because organized and one word here starts with an M. And then while you're thinking about that, I'll even give you the first three letters. Let's work on your vocabulary. Ooh, Roshni, very good. That was fast. Good for you. All right. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. All right. Okay. Let's see. Rahul, a topic sentence. Moreover, good handwriting also helps readers of the articles to understand information clearly and take action based on the information. Okay, good. Kisi, keeping it simple. For the audience, good handwriting is more of an art than words. Yeah, Kisi, that's good. Okay, I would use a correlative conjunction with that, Kisi. So I would write, for instance, good handwriting is both information and art, or an expression of art. Okay, so I'd use a correlative conjunction there. Roshni, very good. The word is meticulous indeed. Okay. All right. Very good. Reba says, good penmanship enables higher grades, while a press of a key does not. It reflects to the reader how the author is expressing his thoughts and attitude in an organized way. Yeah, Reba, I think you're on the right track. Again, just be a little bit careful with the grammar there. Okay. For example, clear or legible penmanship is critical for getting high band scores on the writing section of the IELTS exam. There are certainly situations in life which demand authors to have good handwriting. Okay, that's kind of my connecting or concluding sentence. And then let's move to the conclusion. So I'm moving along here. I want to cover a few more points in our last 10 minutes here. So just keep going, students. Let's do the conclusion together. Conclusion should always start with in conclusion. So in conclusion, and then summarize your points, emphasize your argument, and give a take-home message. I'm going to do that now, okay? So do that with me, okay? And I see some good information coming up there from Preeti and Alvina as well. Okay. In conclusion, handwriting still has a very important role in society alongside keyboarding. It not only develops pupils' thinking, but also presents their positive attitude. Okay? Therefore, I strongly agree with the idea that this skill take a permanent place in class learning. Okay, so I kind of blasted through that conclusion, and I'll show you why in a second. Permanent. There we go. All right. So, here we go. In conclusion, good handwriting still has a very important role in society alongside keyboarding. It not only develops pupils' thinking, but also presents their positive attitude. Therefore, I strongly agree with the idea that this skill take a permanent place in class learning. It is important to have not just productive, but also creative contributors in future literature. Okay, that's my take-home message. All right, so here's my essay. I want to read this, and then it will make sense why I was a little bit fast here at the end. Yeah, Hung, I can correct that later. I'm kind of just moving through this a little bit in a speedy way because one of our students, who's also a member, I believe, finished this essay yesterday and sent it to me. And they did a really good job. And I want to show you that you don't have to be a native speaker to write exceptionally well. So let me show you that essay in just a moment. We'll read this essay first, and then I'll read the student's essay after. So here's the full essay. Handwriting is an integral part of human civilization, the ability to correctly form letters and compose sentences so that writing by hand is legible is traditionally a skill taught to people in primary school curriculum. Nevertheless, time spent in class to develop penmanship has come under question in the modern age of computers. Although it is true that people live in the digital age where typing on a computer is more common than writing by hand, I do believe that teaching good penmanship in schools has great value. Although typing on a keyboard has its advantages, such as speed, there are clear benefits to learning quality penmanship for scholars in school. The method of writing by hand is clearly different than keyboarding. It is a continuous, elegant movement of the hand that arguably evokes a greater depth and creativity in thought. This should not be undermined in school curriculum. In addition, quality penmanship teaches precise hand-eye coordination, which can transfer to other skills such as painting. Arguably, one of the greatest thriller novels written by Stephen King is called Dreamcatcher, which he wrote entirely by a fountain pen. He himself claims that writing this novel by hand is largely the reason for its quality. Therefore, teaching good handwriting in schools in order to develop higher mental abilities is one reason that I support this practice in the future. Information conveyed through type font is homogeneous, but handwritten knowledge expresses the unique personality and attitude of the writer, which increases the value of the message. When a person reads a beautifully handwritten note, they correctly assume that the author is a well-educated individual who is organized and meticulous. For example, legible penmanship is critical for getting high band scores on the writing section of the IELTS exam. There are certainly situations in life which demand authors to have good handwriting. In conclusion, good handwriting still has a very important role in society along keyboarding. It not only develops pupils' thinking, but also presents their positive attitude. Therefore, I strongly agree with the idea that this skill take a permanent place in class learning. It is important to have not just productive, but also creative contributors in future literature. Okay? So here, Hung, if I want to replace that, I can do it like this. Okay? If you notice that doubling, I can do have both productive and creative contributors in future literature. Okay, now here is a completion by a student. This was written by Reza Kesra is the name, and the introduction is the same. Okay. And then these are the body paragraphs, and the student wrote this obviously yesterday before we finished today. So follow with me here, members. I just, again, want to show you that this student, who's not a native speaker of English, who has really worked hard to improve their English, is writing exceptionally well. So writing by hand has benefits for the author that are lost in keyboarding. Composition by hand is slower in comparison with typing and requires the author to be selective about what he writes. Therefore, a much better grasp of what they are writing. Take writing that very essay for the IELTS as an example. I'm in the process of bringing my inner thoughts onto the paper, the way in which my hand, eyes, and brain are working together, otherwise known as coordination, have contributed substantially to developing an organic flow of my thoughts for the topic. Could never write such an outstanding essay in front of my computer. Both the writer and the reader benefit from pen and paper. Beautiful composition, a truly nice flow of thoughts, really good use of words, very clearly expressed. That's a band 9, okay? And arguably many native speakers would not be able to compose their ideas that well. So very good job. And then Reza continues with body paragraph 2. Handwriting also offers significant benefits for the audience. It is psychologically proven that people tend to place a higher value on tangible, personal, and real things. That is to say, the impact of penmanship for the reader lasts far longer than any alternative version offered by technology. For example, my loved ones send me both handwritten notes and typewritten text, but I only keep the handwritten ones for sentimental reasons, because they are more intimate, personal, and show more appreciation than emails and text, regardless of the content. Really nice thought process, really nice composition. Okay. In conclusion, I strongly believe in the virtues of penmanship as an important part of the school curriculum because it is of value to both the writer and the reader. So a little bit simpler, but I'm 99% sure that if this were the task 2 question for Reza on the IELTS exam and he wrote it this way, it would be a perfect band 9, even with just a couple of slight mistakes. So again, the reason I showed you that is to give you confidence that it is possible to write exceptionally well with practice, knowing the right structure and the right approach. All right, students, that's it for this class. Any questions, members, in closing? Any thoughts? Again, I know we're a little bit short on time. If something comes up, you can always send me an email. Dev, it was really good to see a little bit of contribution in the class. I'm not sure if you're still watching. You can send me your completed essays here to adrian@aehelp.com as well. Okay. Okay. Absolutely, Hung. I'm really happy that you took it that way. That was my goal, is to motivate you to continue learning and to know that, yeah, it's not impossible to write exceptionally well. So I think Reza has been a student with our products and software and these live classes for, well, at least 5-6 months now, and he's really come a long way. Okay. Dev, I'm glad you learned a lot. Dev, don't forget to send me an email, okay, so I can hook you up with some perks. So Dev, send me an email here. Just write, I'm a new member. Please send me the perks, okay? All right, Amarjit, you're very welcome. Viewers, in 30 minutes, we have a class coming up for everyone. It's Speaking Part 2 Cue Card Example. Make sure to tune in for that. And check us out at aehelp.com for the academic version of the exam. Lots of help there. And gieltshelp.com for the general version. Lots of help there as well, okay? Have a fantastic day. Hopefully see you shortly. Bye for now, everyone.